When we see a truck traveling along an icy highway in Alaska or across the frozen plains of the Siberian steppe, we usually focus on the engine's power, the enormous size of the vehicle, or the challenge of driving through such inhospitable terrain. However, every night, a far less visible battle begins, a war against the cold, against the freezing of mechanical systems, and against the limits of the human body itself. But how is it possible to survive temperatures below -40 degrees Celsius? And how can truck drivers sleep inside without freezing to death? Well, in today's video, I'll explain everything in detail. The cab of a modern long-haul truck functions almost like a small mobile home, designed to remain habitable for hours or even days under extreme weather conditions. The walls, roof, and much of the floor are built with insulating materials designed to minimize heat loss as much as possible. In addition, low thermal conductivity foam, multi-layer panels, interior linings, and reinforced seals around the doors and windows create a barrier that prevents the outside cold from quickly invading the cabin. Manufacturers pay special attention to this aspect. Some brands conduct tests in climate chambers and Arctic regions to evaluate how their vehicles perform under extreme temperatures. They don't just assess the truck's mechanical performance, they also analyze the driver's thermal comfort, the cab's ability to retain heat, and the durability of the electrical and electronic systems. But even the best insulated truck cab in the world would eventually become cold if there were no constant source of heat. Many people believe that truck drivers leave the engine running all night to stay warm. Although this may happen under certain circumstances, the reality is that most modern trucks use independent heating systems specifically designed to operate while the vehicle is parked. These systems, known as parking heaters or auxiliary heaters, operate independently of the main engine, using small amounts of diesel fuel to generate heat and distribute it throughout the cab. Modern units provide between 2 and 5.5 kilowatts of heating power, which is enough to maintain a comfortable temperature even when outside temperatures approach -40 degrees Celsius. A small combustion chamber burns diesel fuel in a controlled manner. The heat produced is transferred through a heat exchanger, while a fan circulates warm air throughout the cab, consuming only a fraction of the fuel that the main engine would require if left idling. In many cases, a parking heater consumes only 2 to 3 liters of diesel fuel throughout an entire night. This represents a significant economic and mechanical advantage, since keeping a large displacement diesel engine running at idle for 8 to 10 hours results in much higher fuel consumption and causes gradual mechanical wear. Under such extreme conditions, the engine also needs to be kept warm. To achieve this, trucks use heating systems integrated into the engine's cooling circuit, which keep the coolant warm while the truck is parked. As a result, when it's time to start the engine in the morning, it is already partially preheated, significantly reducing mechanical stress and making it much easier to start. However, in certain regions where temperatures drop well below -30 degrees Celsius, some drivers prefer to keep the engine running continuously to ensure that all of the truck's systems remain warm. This can be especially important for older vehicles or in situations where there is a risk of certain components freezing. In addition, keeping the engine running continuously allows the batteries to remain constantly charged, since they represent one of the greatest challenges in extreme cold. The chemical reactions that take place inside a battery slow down as the temperature decreases. As a result, a battery that performs perfectly during the summer can lose a significant portion of its capacity when the thermometer drops to -40 degrees Celsius. For this reason, trucks designed to operate in cold regions are typically equipped with dual battery systems, high-capacity alternators, and energy management strategies specifically engineered to ensure sufficient electrical power throughout the night. In recent years, complementary solutions have also begun to emerge, such as flexible solar panels installed on the roof of the truck cab. Although they obviously cannot provide heating during the night, they help keep the batteries charged whenever the vehicle remains parked for extended periods. On the other hand, truck drivers who regularly work in Arctic regions rarely rely solely on the truck's heating system, because proper clothing serves as a second essential line of defense against the extreme cold. The usual strategy is to wear multiple layers of clothing. The first layer is thermal underwear that keeps the skin dry, while the second layer provides insulation to retain body heat. When it comes to sleeping, many truck drivers also use sleeping bags designed specifically for extreme temperatures. Some models are even rated to withstand temperatures below -30 degrees Celsius. However, there is another extremely dangerous enemy, an invisible, odorless, and highly toxic one: carbon monoxide. Modern parking heaters vent combustion gases outside the vehicle. However, a faulty installation or a leak can allow carbon monoxide to seep into the cab. In severe cases, this can be fatal. For this reason, many truck drivers use dedicated carbon monoxide detectors and regularly inspect their heating systems to ensure they are functioning safely. When a truck driver prepares to sleep on a remote Arctic highway, they are not relying solely on a blanket or an improvised heater. Instead, they are protected by a carefully engineered combination of thermal insulation, independent heating systems, and safety protocols that have been refined over decades. Thanks to this combination of technology and experience, a small truck cab measuring only a few square meters can be transformed into a shelter capable of withstanding temperatures that, under other circumstances, could become life-threatening to a person within just a few hours. If you find our work interesting and would like to support the channel, we would greatly appreciate it if you subscribed and left a like. Your support is what allows us to continue creating this content. Thank you all very much. I'll be reading your comments, and I'll see you in the next video.